everybody.
Hello. Got some bad news.
Unfortunate.
It looks like we, unfortunately, were. Oh, why are you smiling? It's bad news. This is actual bad news. We were robbed.
We were robbed, like
Someone
literally
broke
robbed.
into our truck, and yep. And so we've decided we might as well kind of make a video and give an update on some different safety measures that you should take and that we've learned, and a few mistakes that it's kind of happened along the way that we can do to prevent it from happening in the future. And hopefully our mistakes are a lesson for you, and hopefully it helps prevent it from happening to you. So stay tuned. That's what this video is about, and not about her lip. All right, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hi.
Well, finally on an actual adventure.
So they stay in the
Cold
water to stay
blood.
warm and So yes, so we were robbed over the weekend actually. So as just a little bit of a backstory, kind of let you all know what happened. So our family and some friends, we decided to go to SeaWorld in San Antonio. We actually went to Aquatica, and that's their water park, and we spent the weekend out in San Antonio. At least we had plans on spending the weekend out there. So we got there Friday evening, and we were going to leave on Sunday evening or Sunday afternoon, depending, whatever. And things were fine on Friday. We stayed at the hotel, Courtyard, actually. It was a Courtyard Marriott hotel. And it was right outside, about 5 minutes away from San Antonio, or excuse me, 5 minutes away from SeaWorld. And Saturday we returned from a full day at the water park. Our friends headed back home, and we were just relaxing, showered, hanging out, trying to decide if we were going to get something to eat or not. Wasn't really quite sure. And then Jeremiah got a notification on his phone that his alarm was going off on a vehicle. And so we were on the 4th floor. There were only 4 floors, and our room had a balcony, and it faced the front of the hotel. We were actually parked on the side of the hotel. So, but where our room was, if you stepped out into the hallway, we were right next to a window that faced the side of the hotel, so that we actually could see the vehicle. And at that time, Jeremiah stepped outside. You know, we weren't in a major rush, because we just figured that maybe someone backed into the car or bumped it, you know, something like that.
Well, I was in a rush. I'm not going to say.
I mean, you know, we didn't think it was someone actually breaking into the car.
No.
we thought it was maybe some type of accident or someone bumped. But again, this isn't a very sensitive alarm, so we didn't, we moved with some urgency, but not in the sense of, hey, we saw someone breaking into the vehicle. So by the time Jeremiah got outside, got to the window, he saw that the door was open, and that's when everything just kind of went into high gear. And we began to call the police, alert the hotel. Couldn't wait on the elevator, so we had to run down, 4 stories of stairs to get down to our truck. And so, unfortunately, by the time we got down there, of course, they were gone. And they did steal a few items out the car, but the biggest thing that they did take was our firearm. And so that, was something that was, of course, and they broke the lock. So,
Yeah,
on the vehicle. So, we checked out. We left, of course. They did, I will say the hotel, it wasn't their fault, but I did speak to them on Monday, which would be, I guess today is when we're recording this.
Scoot over.
Oh, so I did speak to the manager about the incident, and of course they're going to, make sure that they're working with the police department. But the police officers told Jeremiah kind of like that this was something normal, not really normal, but happens.
Yeah, apparently it happens in the area a lot. And I may record me changing the lock, which is kind of one of the upgrades that we're doing. So if you have, I want to say, I think it's anywhere from like the 2010 to 2021 model of F-150, 250, 350 series, apparently your locks, your driver's side lock is prone to being just an easy target for these type of thieves. I don't want to go into too much detail because if you don't know how to do it, I don't want to give you any ideas on how to do it. But apparently, from what what they were told and what obviously we experienced, it's very easy for these types of criminals to break into these types of vehicles. So, like I said, because it's so easy, I would hate to talk about it and give the wrong person, ammunition to go do that or any ideas. But what I can tell you, what I was told to do and what I'm actually getting ready to do now, because I just purchased a different door handle. The police officer said use the door handle from the passenger side over there, so that way basically I'm removing that entire locking system.
Yeah.
So that way if they were to break it, if they were to break into the car again, they would actually have to break the window or something that would obviously slow them down a lot more than the easy way it is for them to just jam this lock out and pop it open, because they can do this within about 10 seconds. Get in the car. Actually, I'm sorry, to probably break the actual lock, it probably only took them like 2 or 3 seconds. But, what it takes, it's a 7-second delay, I think, on the alarm between it gets, from the actual car to it gets to your phone. And that just gives them enough time to get in. All this was done,
open up the dash. Less than 2 minutes. Less than 2 minutes because we're assuming we dealt with someone who was a professional, for lack of a better term. And this was common. Apparently there were some
seasoned criminals,
a very seasoned criminal, and apparently this was a common thing that happens in this area. And so this doesn't turn us off from
the San Antonio area
at all, because it happens. Car robberies happen. Of course, it was a little frustrating with the hotel because they didn't have any camera systems that were on that side of the property. And they, when we brought this to their attention, knowing that this area is a high crime, or even if not just a high vehicle crime area where people are breaking into vehicles, especially even on the property of SeaWorld, why would you not invest into cameras? And so I would say the management, was kind of sympathetic, like, yeah, I get what you're saying, but I guess in order for some places to have cameras to that degree where they're monitoring surveillance all over property, you have to have someone watching them. So that's just all boils down to money and hiring someone to actually surveillance the property, but they also charge parking.
I was just about to say, then why are you charging?
Why are you charging parking? You self-park your car anyway.
You're paying for self-parking at the hotel. This wasn't a cheap, room
it's
rate. I think
the Courtyard Marriott.
The room rates started at this hotel like at $179. So that was just kind of the starting point for that. Plus you're paying $10 to self-park. And typically when you're paying for parking, you get some type of security, which is why I was comfortable. Oh, okay, we're paying for parking. I know they're gonna probably have like a security guard or something that comes around. Yeah. I mean, even if they did have a nighttime guard, which they don't, but they should. But even if they did, this did happen in broad daylight. This happened, I think it was 6:58.
Yeah, it was broad daylight. It was still really early in the day where the sun was still up. So, needless to say, we left the property, of course, and we headed back home to our RV. And it kind of just made us feel more like, man, this is why I like actually traveling in our RV, because we're always parked right outside our RV. We're never within a few feet. The vehicle is never within a few feet from the RV. And on top of that, staying at hotels in general now, I just always feel like, did they clean it right? The floors are probably dirty. People probably walk around with their gym shoes on. I'm already feeling like everything's already kind of dirty anyway. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't that, so this just kind of conditioned that, and it left kind of a bad taste in our mouth with this particular experience. But like I said, there was no one to blame when it comes to, there's things that we thought about, okay, what we can do. So we want to take a moment of what we're going to do in the future to help protect ourselves and our family and our property as much as we can while we're on the road. So the first thing that we did, of course, we had to contact the insurance company and go through what that looks like. Also looking at seeing what makes sense. This is going to look different for everybody because everybody has different policies. Everyone has different coverage. Our insurance company was really understanding. They had a lot of, some options and suggestions. So we're kind of going about the best route for us. Because this wasn't major damage, it actually may not make full sense to go through with a full claim, because we may be able to actually replace some of these things pretty quickly. We did replace our firearm because, we don't want to be in a vehicle unlocked or traveling unprotected. That just sounds, crazy. So that was the first thing that was important to us, to just kind of start replacing those things right away.
Yeah, like I said, getting the lock, the actual lock, or the new door handle was only about maybe like $130 or $140. So that wasn't very expensive. It's something I'm going to actually repair myself. So, if you have any type of skills, to do things, if you're pretty handy, then it's something that you probably definitely could do yourself. One thing about it is they do not come painted, so that is something that, you just have to take to consideration. You have to get it painted to match your, color or whatever. So find a body shop or something that can do that. Not all dealerships do that. A few of the ones that I called just didn't even have any availability. A few of them, the dealerships have closed. They don't even do collision work anymore. But I did find a paint shop. I think he says that he charges anywhere from about $75 to $150. So all in all, if you're willing to do it yourself, you probably can do it yourself for less than $300. So,
yeah.
And I'll maybe put a link to the videos that I watched on how to replace it, because I probably won't get a chance to record myself because it'll be late when I actually get a chance to do it. But I'll link those videos to where I learned how to do it and pop the door off and, kind of go into all those details.
Yeah. And then I think the next thing that we're doing is also, because our vehicle already comes, and most people have certain things already locked. Like you already have typically your glove compartment locks for you, your armrests. There are things, we have compartments under our seat. We'll just have to be mindful to make sure that we do utilize those while we're out, because to be honest, never had this ever happened to me or to Jeremiah for that week I can think of that we've ever been through this experience. And this isn't really related to even being as a full-time RV. Our RV was not with us. We were just traveling at a hotel. It could happen anywhere. And
that's probably why we probably had our guard maybe slightly more down, because the RV parks, and I know it can happen at RV parks. Obviously, not all RVers are, truthful and honest. But for the most part, the RVers that we've come across, it's never been an issue. We don't really go to sketchy RV parks. I'm sure there are some out there.
In the RV community.
But the RV parks that we've been to, the community, the people that we've met, come across, they're, nice people, good people, upstanding citizens. They're not going to touch
very
your stuff.
neighborly.
You
get people
anything,
that
they'll keep out, keep an eye on your stuff more than anything. So I think we went out of town and my chair blew into the lake that's near our site. Somebody pulled it out the lake and they had to, put it back, next to our RV site.
Because it was a storm, yeah.
So yeah, that's probably why our guard may have been slightly down, because I usually try not to leave valuable items definitely in the car. It definitely wasn't something that was in sight. They didn't see it. But like I said, another step that we'll take is just making sure I actually lock this glove compartment every time I get out the car now, even though it's sometimes an inconvenience because it only locks with the key. So if my key's in the ignition, obviously I can't just reach into my glove box now and grab something out if I forget to unlock it. But it's one of those things you just got to do it. So you just got to deal with it and be more mindful that way.
And just be mindful.
'Cause hopefully it could at least slows them down for a second, enough where they wouldn't have been able to get anything out. They would have been like, maybe ran off to the next car or wherever else they went, because I'm sure they did not take the gun to do the right thing and just to protect themselves. That wasn't their intention.
No. And I think it's also important to remember that since this happened, if you are traveling, because I know this is going to be at your own discretion, and you have to follow the property rules wherever you are. The reason why our gun was in our vehicles because the property did not allow us to bring our weapon on or off. And it's one of those things where, obviously people don't know what you got in your bag, so that's your business and that's up to you to make that decision. Mm-hmm. But that also kind of let us know that, we have to make sure that we're really vigilant about those type of rules, because not that we would have shot at somebody breaking into our car, because that would have been crazy. You can't legally do that, protecting property. However, getting vandalized like that does make you feel victimized. It's an invasion of your privacy, and you instantly start thinking of everything that could have possibly been out or within grabbable reach that person could have took. Whether it been a bracelet or a debit card that could have fallen out your wallet, anything like that. We were very lucky that this was a clean grab and go, and as much as you could say that that's something lucky that it happened, that they didn't break up and tear up anything and pull out radios, anything like that, because of the alarm, because we have that. But we just know now we'll just use definitely any additional lock boxes, making sure that we are, if we do travel hotel, because we will still have to stay at hotels. There are times a part of this full-time life that we will stay in some areas.
I'll just bring it with me.
We will have to bring our gun with us. That's just what it is.
And actually, it probably, honestly, would have been in the room with us if we hadn't just come back from SeaWorld. Yeah. Where it had to be in the car.
And definitely with parking. It's ironic that it happened, but there were some times during our trip, during that day, actually, we made comments about parking, and Jeremiah actually moved the truck a couple of times to bring the truck closer towards the front or closer towards our window, because we just are never comfortable at parking with our vehicle out of sight when we stay somewhere, anywhere. It could be at a friend's house, anything. We're just not the type to park our car down. And this was just the time where it was like a pageant going on at the hotel. It was a resort style hotel, so they had tons of stuff. So there was people out walking their dogs. This all happened in broad daylight. So there was just so many events that anybody could have just saw somebody up next to the car, would never thought anything of it, because it really was just a quick break, grab and go. So next time in the future, if you are also a traveler, whether it be full-time travel or whether you're just staying out and about, these are things that you just got to consider. We have now been full-time in RV now for 3 weeks, almost a month. And
we got a transition. I know.
That's a heck of a transition. Just want to give y'all a quick update on that.
What it's been like, and
Overall,
what is it, 3.5 weeks?
3.5 weeks. Yeah, so it'll be a full month next week, actually. So a full 4 weeks or so next week.
Actually, no, I take that back. Full week of Wednesday.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, Wednesday, because we moved out
So
in
we got
April.
2 days from now.
So yeah, it'll be a full month in just a couple of days. And so by the time this video go up, maybe it may have passed or
Yeah.
not, you'll see. But anywho, one thing I will say is absolutely, of course, I say I love it, and we're still adjusting because there's still so much to adjust, and we have travels really planned over the next few months. Like, we just got a pretty full schedule. I have to keep our calendar with us. It's so full. The biggest adjustment is still our space. And we've been really trying to maximize as much real estate inside of our RV as possible.
There's no more space.
And there's no more space. There is nowhere. Anytime I find something now, it's like, if it's a shirt, if it's a jacket, girl, just put it on, because it can't go nowhere else. There's no more space for anything. But I am very proud of us, proud of Jeremiah for being creative in the space and things that we could do to just, if it gives you 4 extra inches of counter space, that's nice, because now that's 4 extra inches we didn't have.
Oh my goodness.
Because our RV wasn't originally purchased with the idea that we were ever going to go full time, you know. So until we actually get ready to buy the new RV, we'll talk about that in another video on our process and where we are with that, because we still do plan on buying a newer and a bigger RV, or just at least a bigger one for sure. So that's definitely been the biggest challenge, is definitely maximizing the space, but living in it, you know, waking up every day and doing our daily routine, not anything bad. I think it's a little bit congested only at times when the kids have school, because they still got book bags and stuff, but
Yeah. So we'll be done with that.
we'll be done that this
in
week.
3 days. Who's excited for school to be done?
Me.
Yeah, I think we're all burned out with the early mornings for school. So once those are over, then we can kind of settle into our schedule and how we want to do things, and you know, just change things around that works best for us, because that's really what this entire lifestyle is about, is finding what works for you and being able to do that, and yeah, just making it work. You know, the space, like we said, you know, the space is slightly tough, but we're getting used to it. You know, tensions
do flare. They do flare. We do get frustrated with each other. You get frustrated with just different parts of it. There was points of it where you're just so sick of looking at different stuff, and then you start just pushing off to the side or throwing away things. You start realizing, heck, there was one thing in that pile of junk that I needed, and now I can't find it. But
that's why I save all my piles of junk.
you know, and that's been the problem, saving piles of junk. But because you don't want to feel like you want to really want your home to feel like a home. You know, you don't want to feel like it's a storage unit, but you also don't want to get rid of the things that, you know, actually can go over to your new unit. But we didn't want to, you know, get an actual storage unit to put things in, because we didn't really have enough. Well, we really did, but that would only give us more excuse to hold on to more stuff that we didn't need. So we do have a few things at our family's house, and that's we'll be there for the summer, and then our plan, hopefully by summer or fall, we'll have our RV. But we still said full steam ahead. You know, God be with us on that, and God willing, we just keep on moving forward. And then when the time is right for us to make that purchase and things look right, we will. So 1 month in, and then this week we actually will be hitting the road to head to Arkansas. So we're going to have some updates on that video. So we have Arkansas planned, and Tennessee, and then Michigan. We actually have some plans for Branson, Missouri now. Is that Missouri?
Yep.
Yeah,
Missouri.
that was that just actually kind of hit our docket going to. So that's going to be very interesting. So we kind of have So yeah, we kind of have a full summer plan. I think I mentioned that I have Cancun planned with some girlfriends this summer. So nope, this is just for a bachelorette party. So lots of
Probably
stuff.
won't get any footage from that, because who knows?
Nope, bachelorette party. That ain't nobody else. That's not a cross country. That is mommy's adventure.
Yeah. So, anyways, but no, we've got. I think we've had people ask us about mail services and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're still in the process of reviewing a couple mail services. We're pretty sure we know which one we're going to go with. And once we finalize that, we'll post that in the next video. And also, we did join another RV membership. I guess that we upgraded our membership. Yeah, because we were already with
Thousand Trails.
With Thousand Trails, yep.
So we'll talk about that because that one's a really big one for some people.
Yeah, we'll have to break that down. That'll probably be like a 30-minute
That'll be
video
its own video on understanding, because I'm still understanding bits and pieces of it. So we'll definitely talk about that. So we have a lot of, update, especially for some of you who may be interested in this lifestyle or just curious to see what we're doing, being nosy. Hey, y'all can be nosy. We don't mind. By all means, just come travel with us and we'll let you all know what memberships. And we also have maybe potentially another one on the table, which is passing one from my dad over to us. We're still kind of got that one on the table. We just never got no one to call us back on it. But there's so many memberships out there that help eliminate your cost when you stay places. And so now over the summer, we're going to start kind of restructuring our budget and restructuring kind of like some things that we may have seen, like from the Adventure Mom, if some of you guys follow her, how she got rid of $200,000 worth of debt in 2 years. And, that would be amazing for us because that would get rid of a lot of my student debt in that situation, so that when we do make our exodus out of this life, that we'll be settling into our home and all of those other things and start planning our next few years. But so still more to come with that, but we're so glad that we're safe. We're glad that God was with us during that time. Again, we were only away from the vehicle for less than an hour when it got broken into. So our kids were safe. Our items are replaced. Our doors replaced. Everything was relatively minimal. So we just now know to not let it happen again by,
Yeah. So
putting razor blades on the door handles.
If you have an F-150, F-250, or 350,
and we have a 350, by the way.
Through that, through those years, Google the video. If you have one right now, just Google it on YouTube. And I wish I had done this beforehand, but it's way too easy for people to break into that lock. So it's something that Ford actually recognized, which is why the 2022s have a different locking mechanism in them, because of the fact that it was happening so much. I just hate that in all the research I did when getting this truck, it never came up in one video. But then after I Googled it once, I found tons and tons of videos and people being upset with, Ford for this whole thing, So Google that. That's a sidebar. Just I'm sure men will be probably more interested in that. Look into it.
Yeah. So, all right, everybody. So, thank you for letting us take up a little bit of your time on this information. Hopefully, we'll try to timestamp some of this. So, if you wanted to jump ahead a little bit of things, that's fine. But we will be back with another video, trying to get these out on a regular schedule. So, thank you so much for bearing with us, and we appreciate y'all hanging out with us on our cross country adventure. So, we'll see y'all soon.
Right. And I will show you some footage of what's behind us. We're in Galveston, by the way.
Yeah,
we didn't
we're
even
at the
tell
beach.
everybody. Yep, we're just sitting at the beach. Kids are back there. But yeah, so all right, enjoy this view and see you guys later.
Bye. See you next time on Cross Country Adventure.